that is a World Bank instrument to cancel programs, cancel university. Honestly, I think that is an insult to the university system. How can KPI be a World Bank something? Of course not. Those of us who have done strategic plan for our universities, every strategic plan must have in it key indicators to show you that you are really moving in the direction of implementing your strategic plan. So how can that be, that of World Bank? Let me move fast. Then, so the central message in my paper is what I'm going to, that the present system of funding of public university is highly unsustainable. Our funding must pay attention to the preparation of needs-based budget, because as I will show later, once upon a time universities were budgeting. Then somewhere down the line, government started giving us envelope and we went to sleep. No more budgeting. Then operation of performance-based system and control of level of students' enrollment in there. Then promoting institutional autonomy, need for institutional-based transparency, participatory management, adoption of e-based resource planning, and diversification of the sources of funding. We must diversify. And then student contribution through fees, introduction of student loans, bursaries, scholarships, in order to take care of indigent students. So the structure is, I will move very fast. What are universities for? As somebody has said, we have to know the purpose of the university. Why are we the university? Why are we saying that they should invest in us? What should we be doing? And I think a lot of that has already been said. I can move fast, on that. Then challenges facing us in achieving our vision and systemic reform towards achieving the stable. What are universities for? I move. I said into 21st century, knowledge-based economy. We create the wealth, prosperity, and well-being of nations. Universities are supposed to be the drivers. They produce cutting-edge knowledge. They transfer teaching and that to the masses, and then also, most importantly, they create knowledge workers, which is through our teaching transfer. For these three to hold, we must be globally, connected. Is what we are saying. In other words, but to put it properly, I quickly make reference to the statement of a Vice Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor of IBB University, in talking about his university. He said, IBBU is a modern university, okay, outwardly looking. Our research strategy is to be able to, please gentlemen, if you don't mind, can I come down? Let me come down so that I can see properly. Let me come to your level, so that it's not speech from the throne. Okay? So it says our research strategy commits us to addressing national development challenges that, when resolved, will promote economic growth and the well-being of citizenry, which is in line with the challenges of leadership that they talked about. And the university had made national and international impact on research outputs in gas and oil in their area. The key areas of strength of the university. The other areas were renewable energy, fuel, where they made impact. In other words, what the import of what the VC is saying is the committee of the university to make an impact on its community and beyond through its research, development, and innovation. The appreciation of the fact that no university can do it alone. So IBBU is apparently committed to the following observation, which is very key. And that observation is, by Skiller says, a world economy no longer pays you for what you know. That's it, knowledge. Google knows everything. Google it, is there. That's what he's saying. The world economy pays you for what you can do with what you know. And that makes a big difference. And we should keep this at the back of our mind. And it's what they are saying. Even the governor yesterday, when he was saying that, well, we are not teaching people for solutions and things like that. No. We have to keep that. And that makes a difference for even how we do our job of teaching. If it is not just knowledge, okay? So then the university's concern is useful knowledge. What we are saying in there. People have observed that a university is not supposed to concern itself entirely, even though it must, with the present challenges. University also must take the nation to the future. The future development, as I've said, not only the present, also into the future. And they say that a constant innovation cycle that has been witnessed in the past decades shows that technology that will probably drive world economy in some decades to come will probably are still not known. I challenge you. Let's look at GSM. 20-30 years ago, we were talking of landlines. Now today, but the technology that drove it, only a few people probably are aware of it some years back. That's what we are saying. Technology will never be static. And university should be concerned not only with the present, also with the future. We must be part of it. That is what that is saying. Okay? Then finally, in terms of this is economic growth oriented model of a university. We saw that example with the Scottish government, Scottish Funding Council. When in UK they increased the fees, the tuition fees of students, Scotland took the decision that they will not increase their tuition fees, but government will make additional input, additional funding for their universities. But in doing that, listen to this statement from Mark Bateau, who is the chairman of SFC, Scottish Funding Council. He said that this is a something for something deal. It is an investment by Scottish government. They saw it as investment. And what did they do? Towards ensuring proper utilization of public resources, the SFC and the divisions that draw up, outcome agreement on areas such as assets. There was an agreement with each university as to what that university will achieve year in, year out. Access, retention, flexibility, the employability of their students, all these things are measurable. And translating research into more opportunities for Scottish businesses. The import of that is that they just didn't give them the money. They sat down with each university, areas of interest to the government, and what they want university to do, and what target they want university to achieve. That is what we are talking about, being able to measure, performance. Okay? So let me move closely here that what we have seen as a major problem, access, quality, cost, the present system. Here, in trying to quickly get into this, shows the rate at which universities have been created in Nigeria. From just 1 in 48, now we are talking of 162 universities. And of course, today is Tuesday, maybe by tomorrow, another one may be created after the Federal Executive Council meeting. Okay? What that means, 162. And you see private universities, 74 for 7. The rapid rate of creation has its own problem. And this is the geographical spread. I think what is important is that there is federal presence now in every state of the federation. There is federal presence, and that has been achieved. But private universities seem to be scattered more down south. Now, NUC statistics of students in the system as at 20,000 and 2017, about 1.9 million students, undergraduate 1.7, postgraduate, academic staff about 62,000. And when you do a global student staff ratio, 32 to 1, straight away, you know that some program will not be having the correct, student staff ratio, which again will have implication for quality based on the AUC norm. But that is the picture. And of course, it tells you that the academic human capital will probably not enough to carry the programs in the system. Now, then JAM, in here, I'm also using this to address the issue of access. When we talk of access, I think we always feel there is a question that there is higher demand than supply. But is that the case now? It's no longer the case. From what JAM published during the last conference, which all VCs, probably most VCs were there in Bogon. What's happening here is that Federal University, the quota of Federal University admission quota, 252,000. How many did they finally admit? They admitted 214. In other words, shortage by almost 14%. They did not meet their quota. If you say there is access problem, then you ask yourself, why? In the case of state university, about 12%. And in case of private university, 65%. Did not meet the quota. That is, available quota not being filled. So we have to ask ourselves the question. Access is taking another dimension. It's not a question of creating more university. It's a question of looking critically. How are the universities that were created? How are they really? How come that we are now having a situation whereby you have this quota and the students are not coming? And it's not, funding is part of it, but it's not only funding. We have to look into it. So access is a different ball game now from saying let's create more university. Then the positive of this, the key challenge, let me now, this one, the positive of high quality academic staff. Percentage of staff with PhD, or we have to worry about that. Disconnect between industry and academia, relation and operation of curriculum to highly employable graduates, we have to worry about that. And access imparted by fees regime. So general overview, I will move fast here, is to say that, well, if you look at income sources to the university, these are the major sources of income. Government or promoter for private, TED fund, research grant, IGR, students, endowment, and so on. That's what is coming in. But in terms of expenditure, this is the sort of thing we have for expenditure. The current salaries and wages taking most of our expenditure. Then we have other things, in there. This shows the profile of budget when universities were budgeting. Universities were budgeting between 1990 to 2004. And you can see in here, but actual budget, and then you see the shortfall. The embarrassment faced by government in 2004 with that heavy shortfall. What was the reaction of government? Federal government said, don't give us budget anymore. We will tell you what we can afford to give you. That was what led to the envelope. The beginning of envelope was in 2005. And unfortunately, universities that used to budget will stop budgeting. All we vice chancellors will go to NUC, we go into the bus, we go to the National Assembly. Well, if you are a Christian, you go to church before you go, pray to God, pay your tithe, and say that may your envelope be heavy enough to pay salary. That's what has been happening with the envelope. So once you have got something, it seems like, unfortunately, once we can pay salary, it's like everything is okay. Sorry for the breakdown in transmission. We'll soon come on. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Maybe if I had gone there. Let me use my system. Sorry. My flash. Eh? You didn't save it or what?
No, you saved it.
Okay. You will see the PowerPoint. Let me just continue with this. Yeah, actually the next one the next slide I was showing was to show you the effect of budgeting and not budgeting. Now at the Chancellors University, where I happen to be the Pro-Chancellor, the council was able to encourage the management to prepare budget, and they prepared the budget for 2017-2018, and excellent budget. By the time we finish that exercise, we were able to show that we'll be having a budget deficit of 1.3 billion. And where's the deficit coming from? It's coming from the fact that we have been paying salary to staff, and you deduct contributory pension, you deduct cooperative, but we do not remit. And this happened over the years, to the extent that you have been owing staff about 1.2 billion. And what happened to what has caused that? Again, is another thing that we have to look into. At the Chancellors University, students were paying 95,000 naira per session as tuition fee. This was up to 2014. Then come election of 2014-15. For one reason or the other, slashed to 65,000, with the promise that the subvention will be increased. The subvention was not increased. Now, here is a university with an enrollment of about 17,000. Multiply that by 35,000 or 30,000 that has been reduced, so you can understand the deficit. So, as the Pro-Chancellor, I had to now, do this financial, engineering, discuss with the governor to say, look, sir, you have to help us. This thing must increase, and my request was, can we take it from 65 back to 95? The answer, what would be the answer? No. They said that tuition fee is a no-go area. Because if increase, it is political dynamite in the hand of the opposition. So that's what has led that university having that cumulative this thing. So which means tuition fee has been politicized, which is unfortunate. Then, of course, in here too, I show the impact of this also, where my VC is here from Ibadan, when also Ibadan had, deficit. Considerable deficit, which I've shown in that, but let me move fast. I don't know whether it's here yet. So what I'm saying in there now is that there's need, let me move fast because I've said the federal education. Now, the point I made in here also in another slide. When you say that you have allocated to education, ASU is fighting for allocation to education. But allocation to education is not equal to allocation to the universities. Allocation to education comes to Ministry of Education, and it will have to be shared among the arms of universities, tertiary educations, and so on. Yeah, you can keep going. Okay, I think we are back. Sorry. Okay, go back. Okay. Okay, this is just to show the yes, no, go forward. I've gone past that. Let me move fast. Okay. Well, no, this is just to show that. Go back. It's just to show that when, apart from government, TED Fund also is trying. There's no doubt that TED Fund is now, any university that does not take care of, hold on to TED Fund intervention. There's no way, because government will only satisfy your recurrent. The capital is coming from TED Fund and other things. That's the point that's being made there. And a lot of, yes, keep going. No, go back. This is just showing you why. No. Go for, yeah. The pointer. It's not okay, bring it there. Okay, let me just move now. What I've said is summary of existing funding, unsustainable dependence on government, university continuing reliance, politicization of fees, non-budgeting, little known, this thing, yes. Okay, and then commercial. So, what has been the response of the university to the shortfall? Unfortunately, curtailment of laboratory practical classes. I know as VC, I got requests from the Department of Chemistry of close to about 300 million for consumable to cover the practicals required by that department. We could only give 100 million. What do you expect the department to do? They cancel some of the laboratories, practicals. And I'm sure you now know the emergence in our university system, or what they call alternative. No. That is secondary school. University is theory of practical. Secondary school is alternative to practical. And WAEC is setting exam on alternative to practical. So somebody comes in secondary school level. He has come from a secondary school where he did a lot of alternative to practical. He comes to the university, he's doing the theory of practical, and your nation will move. So, curtailment of staff, freezing of new appointments. I'm sure there must be VCs here that you have vacancies, but you dare not, when you are not even able to pay salary, to bring this. So these are the realities. The reason I'm saying this is that some people feel that because all is quiet, they feel that universities are doing well. No. We are responding in a way that is having impact on the quality of our products. A chemistry graduate that has done all theory of practical, if he's employed in a secondary school, what will he be doing? Alternative to practical. That's what he'll be doing. Anyway, so let me move fast. I will just move fast. Well, in here, in responding, we all know what we are doing to generate funds. I think what Albert is saying here is that looking at South African system, which is also similar to our system of underfunding, it says as part of it, South African universities are confronted with the conundrum of declining state financial support, burgeoning student numbers, and increasing operation costs, as a result of which managerialism now has come into the system. You have to now manage the resources. And what he's saying in there, managing a university like a business with the focus on the financial flow. You cannot do otherwise. That's what he's saying in there. But he feels that that is having impact on the academic function. Then Golam said, "I now lead university under this type of situation." Golam is saying university now require leaders who are not just professors, who come up the rank of academia through scholarship, but can also operate as professional managers. You are now professional managers, and then in addition, having academic credibility, he or she must be a good communicator and be able to manage resources effectively. And I'm sure most vice chancellors will agree here. What you are now having to manage, you have to manage resources now, not just the academic distance. And in here, I show the example, and this example correlates with what the governor said yesterday about funding Union. This is Michigan State University. In the 60s, you can see that in the 60s, in there, government state funding was about almost close to 80%. And tuition fee was just contributing to 20%. The moment state funding started going down, I mean, as you can see in there, the state funding going down, what happened to tuition fees? Going up. And what happened to the IGR? At least they try to maintain it up. But what is the message in this? The university, in all cases, recovered the cost of doing its program. You must recover cost. The moment you don't recover cost, then problem. So in our journey towards sustainable financing, what I'm saying in here first is that we need, the message is this: we need now to be more analytical. It cannot be business as usual. You cannot even leave everything out to the bossa. It's a situation now where you have to put in a system that is able to. This model, which is resource planning model, was something when I was visiting, when we visited California. This was where I got the idea, because there the VC was able to tell me that, I couldn't believe it, that those who are cleaning, they are source cleaning, that they will have to reduce their number because he will not be able to balance his budget. Cleaning. But do you mean that you have really, managed the situation to that level? How many of us could have managed the situation to that level? I realized that I was not managing that in Ibadan. So, and this was the sort of model that they do, which I will move fast in here, and third stream, and then the same thing, resource outflow. What is the advantage of RPM, resource planning? I say improvement in revenue, but more importantly, improve capacity for change management. Because by the time we leave here, if we had now start to implement some of the ideas we have in here, they will lead to change.